and final day of reviewing social studies this week. And so this final standard we're looking at is for you girls. Actually, it's for all of us. But this standard is 4.10, and it talks about the contributions that women made during the Revolutionary War. And there's 4 names associated with this standard. Abigail Adams, if you remember, we talked about her. She was the wife of future President John Adams. And when he was there making rules, making the laws for our country, she wrote to him saying, hey, remember us ladies, give us women some rights. And so he wrote back to her and told her she was a saucy lady. Because she was demanding women's rights, that's Abigail Adams. Mary Ludwig Hayes, you know her as Molly Pitcher. We talked about Molly Pitcher and how, actually you watch Liberty Kids on her as well, how she would carry a water pitcher to the cannons and pour them in the hot cannons to cool the cannons off. There was a lot of women that helped with the cannons. And Molly Pitcher is thought to be just kind of a general name, just a nickname for all the women who helped with the cannons during the Revolutionary War. There's one specific lady named Mary Ludwig Hayes that you'll hear about again today, who's one of the women who the question is about, from your benchmark test. Betsy Ross, you're going to get to meet her kind of today, and she's the one who created the first American flag for George Washington. And then Phyllis Wheatley, you're going to see her in a Liberty Kids video today. She was a slave, and she was a poet. She wrote poems about the American Revolution. And so we didn't really spend a whole lot of time with her. We probably should have done some more activities with Phyllis Wheatley, but she wasn't actually one of the benchmark questions, but we'll watch a little Liberty Kid on her today. All right, so let's take a look at our slides for today. The first question coming from this standard is this, and I couldn't get the whole picture, but there's a lady holding a flag showing it to George Washington. And it said, in this painting, which famous American is most likely showing the flag to George Washington? And there's those 4 names from our standard. So you had to know which one of these women created the flag. And we read a whole article about her. So I don't know why you had a hard time remembering that it was Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross, who made the flag, first American flag for George Washington. You're going to get to meet her in this slide right here. And it's just an actor portraying her, but she's going to tell you all about talking with George Washington about making the first American flag. So it was Betsy Ross who made that flag. The second question from the standard is this. This is an excerpt from a document published at the National Archives. While in the act of reaching a cartridge, a cannon shot from the enemy passed directly between her legs without doing any other damage than carrying away the lower part of her petticoat. She observed that it was lucky it did not pass a little higher and continued her occupation. Based on this excerpt, or this little text right here, this document is about which famous patriot. So which one of these women helped with cannons? It talks about cannons. Of course, it's Molly Pitcher, Mary Ludwig Hayes. And so in this slide, you're going to watch a little two minute biography. Hey, let me pause my recording. Okay, sorry about that. Phew, I turned around and the superintendent was coming in the door. I had to stop and get back on it. So let me get my train of thought back together. But we're talking about Molly Pitcher in this question. And so just remember, it was Molly Pitcher who dealt with the cannons. So this is just a little video clip. I think it's just about a minute. And it just reviews Molly Pitcher. And then the last slide is a Liberty Kids to finish out the week on Phyllis. It's not really on Phyllis Wheatley, but she's in here and they talk to her. So maybe hearing her name over and over in this Liberty Kid video will help you remember who she was. Okay. So this week, like I've said, we've worked on reviewing these standards. I hope from everything from, where did we start with Benjamin Franklin to these women and the Declaration of Independence and the battles in between. I hope this week has helped you remember some of those things. And I hope the next time you see these questions that we've looked at each week that you will be able to remember them. And so it's social studies. There's a lot to remember, a lot of names to remember, a lot of dates to remember, battles. And we haven't even got to the Civil War yet. So there's a lot more names and battles to remember then. But anyway, appreciate your hard work this week. Take a look at these slides today to finish out the week and have a great weekend.